Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween.
Welcome to the second servings of my horror recommendations for this Halloween or the next Halloween if you wanna wait. So let's not waste any time. Here are more horror movies I watched this year.
I'm Zach Bagans. I'm one of the world's leading researchers on ghosts and demonology. And this film is cursed. A story about a demon possession makes international news.
Now look at one of the most documented cases of demon possession and exorcism in recent history.
The next day, over the phone, I buy the house, sight unseen.
You think it's dangerous for me to be in that house?
I wouldn't be there.
She had holes in both her wrists, just like little cuts.
They called 911.
They called 911.
They did.
There was an unidentifiable voice. I only heard it on the recording.
Who in there?
Something came back. I don't know if it was that demon, but something came.
I put the crucifix on her head. She began convulsing.
There was a 6 engraved in our back.
I assure you, I can certain.
This is what it all comes down to.
There was a face. It doesn't want me, it wants you.
That movie is 100% bullshit. Sometimes I stumble with shitty movies, and this one I really dislike. I didn't like this movie a lot. Because, how can I say this? Can you believe that this is a documentary? No, it's not a mockumentary. It's a documentary. And boy, that as a documentary, it fails a lot. This movie was directed and produced by this guy named Zach Bagans. He is the guy who created a show called Ghost Adventure. He's one of those wannabe guys who wants to be ghost hunter, and they come up with this Discovery Channel type shows that they say, oh, there's a ghost there, we brought this equipment and all this stuff. Honestly, while I am very open to the skepticism and a possibility that there are ghosts in the world, I have the firm belief that this is not the way to prove that there are ghosts. The way they do it, the way they try to prove that there are life after death, they're as believable as the female Ghostbusters in that pretty bad Ghostbusters movie. In this case, Demon House, it's technically a documentary about this house in which it says that they live 200 demons in. It's a house located in Gary, Indiana, and it also involves apparently a haunting of a family called what was it called there? The Ammons haunting, and it's just the director and his crew trying to prove that there are indeed demons there, and boy, that the more this movie goes on and on and on, it really feels that this is all 100% a hoax. I couldn't believe nothing about it because the movie apparently tries to take itself seriously, but I couldn't believe it, and I mostly criticized because of the way the documentary was filmed, because with everything that they put on and on, they try to say that, oh, there's evidence here, there's evidence there. All these things that they show is really, really weak. The evidence are so weak. Testimonies are not believable. They try to also create this bullshit dramatizations to probably bias saying that, oh, this thing happened. But no, you can tell that many of those things are dramatized, and which kind of shows like these criminal documentaries or criminal shows that you see and making all these dramatizations. But let me tell you this, at least on criminal shows, the dramatizations work because these are something that are believable. They can happen. But when it's about some kid floating in the air and something like that, and nobody has some full evidence about it, it doesn't feel right. And it really shows because the quality of the cameras, they look too clean. It really feels like a hoax. And there's also some kind of dramatization in which, I don't know what was in his mind, in which he put some shot of some, let's say I think he thought that, okay, we're gonna show that there are goat demons there by having some guy put in the goat mask or something like that. And it's trying to make us believe that this video is cursed. Dude. And again, it comes up with talk and talk and talk with little, and nothing gets me scared. And some of the stuff like saying that people having some comeuppance after visiting the house is technically pure based on coincidence. I mean, one of them, it says that ever since that guy went into that house, now he has cancer. Ever since that guy went into that house, he suddenly turned rogue and became a heavy metal guy. That's what I think about because of his makeup. Ever since that guy, his bowels and his bodily functions begins to malfunction. Call it these can be proven as mere coincidence. It's not exactly ghost science. And they try to say that, oh, I've been hearing this noise. I heard this noise. Do you hear this noise? Hard to believe. The only part that actually comes off at least something to be scared is during the supposed climax in which Zach Bargain decided to lock himself into the demon house, and there is no music, no background, no bullshit narrations. It's just there, and if this could be like a horror movie or a found footage movie, it could have worked. Even though there is something that made me legitimately laugh, in which there is this shot of the living room, and you see Zach just walking around the house, and for apparent no reason, they decide to fast forward that moment of him just walking around and doing nothing, just going from room to room. But the way he just fast forward is so fast that it made me laugh to the point that, oh dear, this guy suddenly turns into Quicksilver. Look, I don't intend to be a skeptic. I like paranormal stuff. They fascinate me. I'll give it that. It made me fascinated on the whole case of the house or something like that. But I don't think that's the correct way to prove that ghosts exist. There should be a better way, and a documentary of this style that pretty much feels like a crime drama instead of a horror drama, it fails. So don't believe. Did he saw ghosts? Did he believe it? I can't tell, but this movie didn't convince me.
Tell me this place isn't prime. Where did you bring us? Right here, in this house. 7 teenagers played Truth or Dare. Johnny, no! All but one of them died. Horrible, painful deaths. All right, now what? Now, we play the game.
Are you an addict? No!
So what now? What do we do?
You finished the game.
3 rounds, 2 minutes, 1 bullet.
talking about the Truth or Dare movie that came out this year. This movie actually came out last year. It was a big surprise to me because while I was browsing on my PlayStation 4 network store, I just stumbled with it and saw the trailer, and I got curious enough to watch it. The best way I can describe this movie is that it's really a contrast to the new one for a year. And the one that I saw for now it was made in 2017, and the new one that came out this year came out in April. So let's call it the old one and the new one. And what I mean also by contrast is that both movies suck, but you can notice that sometimes sometimes things appear that the old one had some good stuff that the new one lacked, and the bad things that the old one has are done well on the new one. It's although not by a long shot, I'll say. So the old one is about these college students who decide to celebrate Halloween in this house, which was a rental, because they say that it's gonna be cool to go celebrate in a house where apparently people were killed except for one survivor by playing Truth or Dare. And it kind of shows in the beginning that, yeah, they're going in for something. So basically what happens is that they play Truth or Dare, but in the style of writing on a paper the truth or the dare, and then sort it out. And started innocent enough until things escalate from one character admitting that she was cheating on her. She was she was having an affair with the boyfriend of our main protagonist, and then it escalates into, well, burning your hands into hot stove, and then eating the peel up skin out of it, and so on. And they have to do it because apparently the poltergeist or the ghost there says that if you don't do the dare, it's gonna make you do it. And since it is all truth or dare, you have to tell the truth or the monster or the ghost will kill you. That's basically the whole enchilada from this one. And honestly, I wish I cannot recommend too much about this movie unless you are a little bit of a drinking game, or you're just in a mood to see a bad yet kind of movie that has some pros and cons. First of all, the characters are unlikable. They're not extremely unlikable, but they're the typical one-note, one personality characters who sometimes act like the typical annoying millennials, saying that, oh my god, complaining. Although, that's the typical thing that you're gonna get in these kind of horror movies. They're just there to not make you care enough to well, you're just waiting for them to being killed. And when they, and you can notice also that in the acting and some of the scenes, it feels like there is a lack of proper direction of where you want them to, they want the movie to go. And sometimes you see some signs of bad acting. Sometimes they see some decent acting, but not a good enough acting considering these kind of movies that you go. What else there is? The backstory of the ghost is kind of left a mystery. You don't know too much about the ghost. The only crust about this movie is that the ghost is there. He wants to play a sadistic truth or dare, and that's it. And the only way to survive this is that they must endure 3 rounds of Truth or Dare during the span of 48 hours. And there is this additional rule that the dares, as much as sadistic as it is, you can share these dares. But the point is that, and it is shown when the survivor managed to survive by her own ordeal, because her final dare was technically dunking her face in acid. That's technically pretty much what I can say from this movie. But at least I'll give it credit that, unlike the new one, this one goes violently big. The other one was PG-13, and lots of the scary stuff and the violent stuff come off as very tame or disappointment. This one doesn't hold no bars, because there can be blood. And I will say that that probably the most entertaining part of the movie comes off at the climax, when they have to return to the demon house, let's say, because some of the cringy best parts of the movie it happens. Let's say that it got me cringe when it involved pulling your teeth, just pulling your teeth, two set of tooth. Man, that every time when it's about teeth, it cringed me. There's also Russian roulette, in which it worked at least as a thrill. Although there is one that kind of almost kills off the rule that it say that if you don't do the dare, you're gonna be forced to do the dare. That's technically kind of like its tagline, but one that does kind of breaks its rule almost at the end. And for a game that says that a movie that is called Truth or Dare, they didn't use the truth element a lot. Many dares happen. At least I'll give the credit to the new one, that at least it established some kind of rule in which in what pace you're gonna say dare, and what consistency you're gonna say truth. So it doesn't say that I'm gonna say dare to everything. No, unfortunately, the old one didn't do that. Oh yeah, but I'll say that there is one moment that is during the final moments of the movie that part really made me cringe. Let's say that it involved body parts and lots of cutting tools. Oh my god, that one made me cringe. I'm not gonna say what it is, but I will say is that at least the ending, the decisions are more novel than the ones that they did on the new one. So I don't recommend exactly this movie. Maybe I could recommend it as a drinking game, or something that you just want to watch a shitty movie with some poor acting, poor direction, but at least with some good enough payoff that the new one didn't have. So watch it at your own risk.
歩行者が振り向くとテケテケに殺される。その場で逃げ切った場合も3日後に必ず殺される。あの子、カナの友達だよね。もし私が一昨日の夜にテケテケを見たとしたら、明日には必ず死ぬってこと。カナ？早く赤いの捨てて！走ろう！
To finish up this Halloween special that I'm doing, I decided to watch a J-horror film that is based on an urban legend. And that is none other than the Teke Teke. Teke Teke is basically the ghost of a woman who was cut in half. And her vengeful spirit goes around the upper side of the railroad and the streets behind it, going around looking for a target and cut them in half and killing them. The name Teke Teke comes from the sound that she does when she walks in extreme speed with her hand, like something like that. Well, the movie that I just saw that came out in 2009, it was just used to emphasize this urban legend. So you're not going to get exactly too much of a story. You're just going to see a movie that is about the point of view of a high schooler who her best friend got killed by the Teke Teke. And the next day, she becomes the target of the Teke Teke. And she managed to get away from that vengeful ghost. But unfortunately, the ghost gives you also a time limit in which you can't get away with it. After 3 days, she's gonna resume her hunt and she's gonna get killed. And as a movie, I'll say that it is interesting. The movie is short, so it's not gonna be a long sit, which is kind of good considering that the movie doesn't do anything special. But it'll give you at least some of the basics of the Teke Teke ghost. And some creative liberties. Because one of the beauties of the urban legends is that you don't know that there are variations of it. You don't know which one is true, which one is not. So you'll have to kind of deal with it. And as a movie it goes, it got me a little bit interested. The pacing is a little bit even, and the acting is okay as far as J-horror films are. Although I have some issues also, because there's a little bit of continuity questionable moments that, let's say for example, the scene in which the soccer player, he say that I'm going home, and he goes around with the bike, and it's the afternoon, and then for some reason at nighttime he's still on the street going around the bike, and you're wondering what was he doing during this whole time. Kind of something like that happens twice, but it doesn't ruin exactly the movie. Oh, and speaking of that guy, you thought that he's gonna become some part of the movie, but no, this guy, he gets his leg injured and then he disappears during the rest of the movie. So that guy was kind of useless. And we also have a little bit of the main character's cousin, who is an anthropologist. And you think that she's gonna be kind of like the helpful cousin, but it is revealed too late into the movie that she also saw the Teke Teke and is finding a way to get out the problem. They do find some clues, like for example, they have to raise a memorial that has been fallen down, and then they also get the clue that the thing hates red. I'm not gonna go too much detail into that, but it is something that even if you have a little bit of free time, it's kind of interesting to watch. But what I will say is that there is a shot that is great. And technically that was the freakish part of the movie. At least for me. It was a shot that involved two characters in the car. And it is the still shot. The characters are just sitting there in the car, but they have space enough to see what is in the back of the car, by the window and all the stuff. And at first nothing is there. But then you see the monster crawling slowly there and centers itself into view. It's funny that at first I was noticing the characters, but it took me a while to notice that the creature was coming close to them, and I was like, oh shit! It was a good scare, at least for me, because the moment was so subtle. It didn't need any orchestral string or music cue to show that there's a danger coming right up. So I love that shot. So kudos to that. And that's technically the best, all I can say about the Teke Teke movie. Oh, a warning. This movie has a little bit of a mid-credit scene. It's not very important, but if you want to watch the movie completely, it has that, just in case. But anyway, Teke Teke. Gotta love some urban Japanese horror stories. So those are all the movies I saw this year for this Halloween season. I really enjoy it. I hope to watch more horror movies for the next year. Doesn't necessarily have to be Halloween. Probably little by little, well, if I get myself the time. But again, Halloween for me is the perfect season to watch these kind of movies. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Happy Halloween, everyone, and have a good nightmare.